Hello, listeners, and welcome to the Turnin Dirt podcast, where we talk all things agriculture and maybe a few other notable topics. This episode is powered by Mazer Group. Mazer Group is a family-owned and operated New Holland dealer complex consisting of 18 locations across Saskatchewan and Manitoba. I'm your host, John Mazer. Thanks for coming, Landon.
Yes, thanks for having me.
I'll be honest, I hadn't heard of you before. These guys brought you to me, which is great, though, because you're becoming a big part of the ag industry. I'm going to ask you about your history, but just to give a quick recap, are you working on the family farm? Because the Fahlmans have a family farm, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you've also got some ventures aside from the family farm going on, right?
Yes.
So why don't I just give you the opportunity to start it where you want to there?
Sure.
Okay. So you can start with, as you being on the farm as a kid, or how you got into the farm and then these other ventures came in.
Yeah, for sure. I'll clear. So a family farm in Holdfast, Saskatchewan. I'm part-time employee. My dad and brother are full-time farmers there, and so it's a fourth generation farm. And so I'm seeding, harvest, weekend warrior.
Gotcha.
For that.
Okay, so and can I ask when you guys homesteaded? Do you know the name? Do you know
1905.
19. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's you're going on 120 years here.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, it's cool. We get some my grandpa, who passed away a few years ago, we had a nice picture with him actually, where it was like showed all the generations.
Oh, that's awesome.
Pretty cool.
But,
yeah. And then my full-time job is at Calian Agriculture right now. So we do wireless grain monitoring and fuel monitoring. So hardware, software products. We sell through a dealer network, ultimately to farmers.
Yep.
Specifically for the product BinSense, which is wireless grain monitoring, for Fuel Lock, which is a fuel management system. That's farms, yes, that's part of it, and then a lot of construction and mining and all that type of stuff, anywhere with bulk fuel. So
gotcha. So you're not specific to ag then, per se?
No, I would say with the evolution of Fuel Lock, that's brought in a lot of different sectors. So if you think bulk fuel, that's basically, as big as you can think. In terms of that, just in terms of all the different areas across North America that use bulk fuel, have employees and equipment that they need to track. So going back to where kind of Fuel Lock started on my family farm, so that it started on the family farm. We had a simple problem. We didn't want to use the padlock and chain anymore. we didn't want,
Which is on every farm, right?
Yeah. Nobody wanted to flip or remembered to flip the breaker off to turn power off. So I'm an electrician by trade. So my dad challenged me. He said, come up with something that we can lock this and it'll auto lock and we don't have to worry about it. And we could because I'm tired of dealing with the padlock and chain and breaker and all that stuff. So I just started putting some electrical components together. Found a keypad online that had a lockout timer, and I basically just built an electrical control box that you could set where it would auto lock after 30 minutes, and it required a keypad entry to get in, and then it would unlock power to the pump. So very straightforward, very simple.
Yeah.
So basically installed that on our farm. It worked great. A few other farmers started coming around and saying, oh, what's that? And kind of had the same problem. So started making them that way, where I would just build them one-off in the shop and installing them for my electrical customers, basically.
Sure, yeah.
And so that kind of caught on a little bit. And so then this would have been summertime. And then we're like, oh, this might be popular outside of the Holdfast area.
Yeah.
So then I basically was like, okay, well, let's build 20 of these, get a booth at Agribition, and try to sell them. Yeah. And so we did that and sold all 20 of them at Agribition. Yeah. And then
first day, had to tear the booth down for the 3 other days, right? Or
exactly. Whatever. Yeah. We had backdrops and banners, and we really looked like we were a legitimate business, even though I was just building them in my shop at the farm.
They don't need to know that, though.
No, they don't. That's right. Yeah. And funny you say that, because during the conversations at the booth, it was like, oh, do you have an app, and do you have tracking and multiple pins? Yeah, we're working on all that.
Yeah, and you're right now. The idea is they must build app.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm looking back at my dad. And so that was good. And then I continued on with that, and eventually I ran into, it was before it was called Calian, it was called Intragrain. And another guy actually from Holdfast area started Intragrain and started BinSense wireless grain monitoring. And so we got talking. He's an electrician as well, and we had worked together in the past. So small world, Sask, you know how it is.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, everybody knows everybody.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So started talking to him. He had developed a lot of the technology that we were going to need for fuel lock. And so we said, oh, let's just team up. And I kind of was like, oh, I'm looking for a little bit of a change from electrical. So I left that world, got into the ag tech world, and started developing the first communicating version of fuel lock, which had an app and software tracking and all that stuff. So that was 2018. And so fast forward 5 years from now, I'm still at the same company. And
so 2018 was the joint venture with Calian. And so I'm pronouncing that right, Calian.
Calian,
right? Yeah. So take me back to that when like Dad said, okay, build something that would was that like 2 years prior to that? Was that like 2016 or was it like?
Yeah, that would have been early 2017. Okay, I think. Yeah. So it all happened kind of within that year where it was like, build this or figure something out. And then I started building them and selling them, and it was kind of catching on a little bit with just local farmers in the area. And then, towards the end of 2017, I started talking with Kyle, who's the guy, my friend from Holdfast, and we kind of made a connection and said, let's give it a shot. So.
Well, that's awesome. And it's so cool that, it came from just an idea that your dad had and you kind of made it come to fruition to now, a very marketable and scalable idea, right? So when you built yours, you said it was like a keypad with a lockout. So like take me through the product. Is it just, when you first built it, it was a box on a bulk tank that everybody had a code for so you could decipher who was taking how much of what fuel?
Exactly.
Okay.
That's what it is now.
That's what it is now. Okay.
It started there was no communicating, no screen, no anything, where it was actually one pin you could do.
Everybody got the same pin.
Everybody got the same pin.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And it was just basically lock, unlock. Super simple. And then the evolution was at, businesses asking for, do you have multiple pins? Because I want to individualize my employees for tracking and all that stuff. And then I also want to track.
Right.
So then we had to get into like tracking leaders and figuring out how that all worked. And then also tying it to an app and communicating. And then the hardest part too is like you're putting a hardware product with a circuit board in the harshest climates, in the harshest environments. And that's what's unique about ag tech in Saskatchewan and stuff that's built on the prairies is like, it has that X factor of like the wildest, harshest climates that you have to build and develop for.
Yeah. And it has to endure through.
And it has to endure. Otherwise the word of mouth spreads and it just like as fast.
Coffee shops are a killer here, man. They're an absolute killer. Like if something doesn't work, everybody knows about it. Yeah. Everybody. Yeah. And just to bring producer Jay in, just so you know, like fuel on the farm is like, well, I mean, it's the lifeblood. It's what make everything go. And it's probably the easiest to steal too. Like it's just easy to put a little in the truck there and a little in the friend's truck. And I mean, I'm guilty for it, like my.
Okay. So this protects the investment.
That's right. Okay. That's exactly. It's fuel. I mean, it's probably the biggest input cost on the farm.
Yeah. Yeah. It's massive, right?
Yeah.
And anyone during harvest and seeding knows like the fuel truck's in every few days and there's so much coming and going and it's a lot of money and it's a lot of like you said, it's a big asset.
Yeah.
That's just sitting there and it used to be kind of unmanaged in terms of like who's like in terms of the tracking side of things. And so it's the word of mouth thing is big oftentimes. I remember in the early days when we first started selling and we got units into Alberta or into if there was problems, in our early versions, it would be jump in the truck and drive.
You got to go
and fix it because it's like you have to. At that point, it's so fragile in the state of like if you want to get it to the next level, those are the kind of things that you have to do. You have to go. Well, it's Saturday at 8 o'clock, but
yeah,
you got to drive. Otherwise, he might spoil it, and at that time, it could kill it.
Oh man, I'm empathizing with and like those gut wrenching calls too. I bet you got and went through on those earlier days where you like you sold into a fleet, you say, and yeah, you got the call where it's not working.
Yeah,
you need to get you working. Because really quickly, like, I mean, the oil field's a huge, I'm not sure if the product's in the oil field now, but it probably is. I tried to get a generator thing going in the oil field when I was in Manitoba, when I lived in Manitoba. So I built two, and before, like they'd come off the site when they drilled down, found oil, they'd come off the site. It was a lag time of 6 months before Manitoba Hydro could get power to the site. So you'd rent them a generator. And I remember putting 2 generators on 2 of those sites and getting the call, like, generator shut off, man. I don't know what's going on. So it's like kind of the same thing you went through. You get that call and it's like, okay, well, you get in the truck and you go see what's wrong,
Yeah, it's exactly the same.
Yeah.
And they don't know or care, right? And nor they should. They paid good money for the product, and they just it's not working, and we need it to work.
Yeah.
And so it's hard not to wear some of that stuff early. And good. I had Kyle who had done bin sense and went through the process of that same type of thing. It was really valuable in terms of a mentor to say, like, don't let it eat you, because it's going to continue to happen, but let's just react and get through it. And with bin sense, with the start, he had that same mentality where it's like, you got to get out there and you gotta make it right. Customers are fine if stuff happens, but it's how you react to it and how you get through it and make it right. And so, same problem still today. It's just everything's bigger, right? In terms of scaling. So you've got, way more customers and way more products out there. The company's bigger. So it's just, now it's scaling that product, which is honestly, some days you just are like, I wish I could just go back to the truck days.
Just the normal days. Yeah, absolutely. When it was kind of simple. So that's a great segue you mentioned there, Landon. So when did it branch off into that? Because of the second part of this, and that's the bin scaling or bin sensing. Sorry. Yeah. But it's all part and parcel to Calian or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So bin sense and fuel lock are the 2 products for Calian. So bin sense was started when the company started. That was 2011. And so that was...
so it was already going.
It was already going.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was already going. So that took 2011 to 2018 was kind of the involvement for bin sense.
Yeah.
And then 2018 to now was the involvement of fuel lock.
Gotcha.
And so, like it started Saskatchewan. Now it's kind of grown North American wide. So, and
bin sense is exactly, or tell me if I'm wrong, it's just exactly what the name is. Is this telling you how full the bin is?
Yeah. Yeah. And wireless temperature and moisture monitoring.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. So it'll tell you roughly how much is in it, and then it'll give you readings every hour. Temperature and moisture of the grain, just to detect spoilage.
Gotcha. So tell me about operations then. So have you got an office somewhere, or is it on the farmyard, or Calian's got an office, and is it branched out to any of the prairie provinces, or are you working just out of Saskatchewan? What's going on there?
Headquarters is here. Yeah. Calian HQ is here. It's 15 minutes actually, just up the road here. So everything's based out of here in terms of manufacturing, sales, development. Everything is out of one office. So we take it right from building it, and we sell it to dealer networks, and then they sell it to customers. So everything distribution is all ran out of Regina here.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So let's start right at the bottom of this. So manufacturing, obviously you're sourcing everything into Saskatchewan. Like, I mean, we're talking 2018 when you first built and then you started scaling up and building bigger ones. Did you have, I got to ask the question with COVID, like, did you go through any sourcing issues through that time? And like, have you since then kind of evolved into like a different strategy, or how did that go?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, like anyone else in the business, it was a struggle. It was trying to wiggle through to find parts here, parts there, manage shipping times and all that stuff, right? I would say we did a really good job with given everything that was thrown at us. Cause I mean, you know how it is. You had everybody from like people working remote, right? You had like all those kinds of variables.
Yep.
And then a customer base that was, didn't I'm just expecting the product.
Of course,
to show up, right?
Yeah. So we don't care about your problems. Like we care about the product we bought. You know, that's what we had to deal with here, right? Because I mean, like, you know, all of our front of house staff pretty much could go home and work remotely. But I mean, service bay, we're still PDIing units. We're still fixing stuff that's broken, right? So yeah. And at the end of the day, we have a customer that just wants what they ordered.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so, and it's hard to, you can't put that on the customer because it's not their fault, their problem. And we always say at the end of the day, we're building simple products, you know, simple solutions. And that's what we are still is our motto and our goal every day. And so those types of challenges obviously made it that much harder where it's like, so, you know, how do you account for some of that stuff no one had ever dealt with any of those COVID variables, as I'm sure you dealt with.
We went through them all, man. Yeah, we went through them all, but you prevail. You know, you find the answer and move on.
Yeah.
So how many people have you got working here in, like, from manufacturing all the way up to the sales side?
Yeah, we're about 60.
60?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
60 across the board. Yeah. So like I said, right from manufacturing, sales, marketing, all that type of stuff.
Yeah. And your entrance to market is through dealers, correct? Like you said. So like you've probably got a system where you've, you know, send a rep out, go to a certain dealership, and they've agreed to come on as a dealer for you. And then it's just kind of train them about the product, and then they're off to the races.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Okay. Well, that's pretty simple then. We should get you in here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a segue to get you in here.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah. So what do you see? So you've got the two products, which is bin sense and bulk fuel, right?
Yeah.
And so your position is R&D. So what's research and development telling you? Can you see anywhere you can branch off and maybe look in? I don't want you to give up any secrets, but at the same time, maybe the question is, what else is the ag sector or any of the other sectors you deal in needs?
Yeah. I would say we're just starting to get into automation. Yep. So we're talking now automating fan control. So based on outside weather conditions of what's going on in the yard compared to the inside conditions, and then the target that farmer wants to set or have that grain at. So for example, canola goes in the bin at, 14%, and they want it at 11%. We would allow the parameters to be set for that. And then the system will basically run fans until it achieves that goal.
Right.
That's what we kind of see is the next evolvement. We have a product out that's just in its very infancy, but kind of doing that. And that's kind of where we see ramping up. So that's definitely where we see the evolvement in terms of like the grain management side. Fuel lock is just, it's still very new that it's a lot of just product exposure.
Right.
So it's like, how do we get it into all these different sectors and handle all the feature requests and stuff like that. So as there's a lot of runway left in fuel still. So it's basically, how can we optimize it, get it in these different markets and scale it? That's really the focus there is like, how do we scale it? How do we make sure that it's a sustainable product and it works day in, day out when someone's at that fuel lock every day, hitting that pin and making sure that that's unlocking, tracking, and all the way through. So.
And right now, like, I mean, I don't know, I'm throwing ideas at you. Maybe there's an automation side on it. Like maybe there's sensors on each unit that when they pull up, and again, I'm just spitballing here, that they automatically know the pin that goes in or the unit. But I mean, then you'd have to know who's driving the unit and that sort of thing. So
there's tons of different things,
like variables about how you could do it.
There is, and I think the hardest part too, like from an R&D perspective, is like looking out. If you think that you have an idea that's no one's ever done before, it's probably not true.
That's right. Yeah.
You can go look around quickly and probably find 10 different companies that are kind of doing the same thing. And so I would say this day and age, that's the biggest challenge for us and any ag tech company is like there's a lot out there. Like there's a lot of products. There's a lot of different things out there that it's overwhelming. It is like we on our family farm, we're often overwhelmed too by all of it and trying to figure out how does this tool help us, or how does it fit in, or can we actually use it properly to make a difference on our operation. And so I think that's definitely part of my goal, part of our goal too, is let's, again, back to simple problems, simple solutions, finding a simple thing that we can do that someone can understand and say, I can see real value in that.
How that would benefit us.
Yeah, exactly. And if you can't see it in a minute, 30 seconds in your little spiel, then it's hard to, it's hard to get them.
No, that's exactly right. Yeah. And one, that's a good way to look at it. Like if it takes 5 minutes to explain something, then you probably lost them in the first 30 seconds, as you just said. Like, but I mean, if it's a 30-second pitch and it says, you know, and there's some real value that comes out of it, then you're on something.
Yeah, exactly. And it's, I've sat at lots of trade shows in the past years, and it's, you know, if they get it, you can see it right away. Like specifically for Fuel Lock, it's such a, you know, it's a simple product, so it's easy to explain. And oftentimes people will come up and they'll walk up and they'll say, oh yeah, no, they could see that. They see a fuel tank and they're like, okay,
you don't even need to explain it. Like pictures say 1,000 words, right?
Yeah. You get 20 seconds in and they're like, I get it. And where can I get it? Buy it. And so it's good that
those
way.
are the good ones.
Yeah.
You actually buy it right here, sir.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you said we're going to go back a little bit. You said you had a histories in electronics or electrical, if you will. So how did you get into that? Like was that out of high school, went and got your ticket there, or was that like, what was the plan there?
Yeah, right out of high school. So actually back to the small town SaaS thing, the founder of Intragrain and BinSense, he had an electrical company. Oh, he's older than me, but he had an electrical company, and I went to work for him right after high school, and just was like, oh, okay, I'll jump into this and see how I like it. And I really did like it. It really interests me, and I was super interested in it, kind of going along and dealing with the control side and all these different things that I'm like, oh, I think this could like lead into something. Yeah.
So you're tech savvy to begin with, kind of.
I think I was always interested in it. Right from kind of high school and on the farm, and I was always kind of interested in that side of things. Cleaning bins, not so much.
No, and that nobody is. Yeah.
The kind of the brunt of the farming stuff.
Yeah.
My brother was huge into farming, so he was like just gung-ho sun up to sundown, and I would say I was a little more interested in the other side of it.
Sure.
So anyways, I did that right out of high school and went through my apprenticeship at SAS Polytech in Moose Jaw. So I worked for Kyle for a few years, and then he ended up selling that because he had to go jump into Intragrain full-time. So I continued on, got my electrical journeyman license in 2016, and then started up a company with a friend from back home as well. And so we did everything from residential, commercial, a lot of trenching on farms and agricultural work. And so that definitely kept us very busy. There's always different things to do. That was kind of the nice part about being a rural electrician, is like you're doing everything.
Absolutely.
Because you're the only one in the area and stuff.
Yeah. And you knew everybody there, so it was easy to get the word out that you were, you know, like in the electrical business. And yeah,
exactly. And so that ultimately led into Fuel Lock and what I did there, because having that background and that knowledge led me into being able to kind of put that together, put Fuel Lock together and kind of work through getting it to the evolution there. But that's honestly, the trades is such a phenomenal place to be if you're, it's a wonderful opportunity if you're coming out of high school and you're not sure of where you want to start, because I do electrical. I don't do it full time anymore, but I continue to do it on the side, and I love doing it. It's kind of a passion of mine. So now I can do it evenings, weekends, and kind of pick and choose different things that I do. And so that's the beauty part about trades, is you can always have that. You always have your
stay with you.
And it'll stay with you.
I was talking to somebody about this today. I can't remember who, but like my path, because I didn't want to go to school right after school, right after high school. My parents convinced me to go into this program at Assiniboine Community College called Agribusiness. Now, there's nothing wrong with the program, but the fact of the matter is I was still in school, and I freaking hated it. So, yeah, like, I mean, but if I was working, you know, like, and really, you know, you can start on with any trades as a apprentice, you know, like,
Yeah.
I mean, you can get on with an electrical company as apprentice, you know, like, and I mean, yeah, you're going to do some grunt work right off the bat, but you know, that opens up the opportunity to at least get your level 1 ticket or your level 2 ticket or whatever. And it doesn't matter what you're in, whether you're in electrical, whether you're in plumbing and heating, anything. But I 100% agree with you. And that is a great opportunity for anybody that doesn't know kind of what their path is. Just hop into one.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's incredibly in demand right now.
Yeah.
Like you said, I found it a little challenging my very first year. You're right out of high school, and it's like, and then you get into apprenticeship, and you're doing kind of shitty jobs. Like it's not glamorous, and you're doing, but ultimately, that's part about any job.
Absolutely,
right? It's like there's going to be. Until you finish working,
that's right. If you're the new guy on the block, you're going to get the grunt work that the old guy doesn't want to do.
Yeah.
And I mean, you got to be okay with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, for me, the option was, you know, staying in and studying and stuff. And I fucking hated that. I hated it.
Oh yeah.
You know, it was awful. Like I couldn't, mind you, the other problem is that concurrently while I went to college, I was bartending and serving at the keg.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, it was so good. Oh man, I got myself in some trouble, Landon. Oh my God. Yeah, it was bad.
That's a play, because then you have you got the side income.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
It's a good
well,
time.
and not only that, like that's the service industry is something that I'm going to boast through my kids, because like, yeah, like it's just another world. Like, you know, you got your school friends and everything that you meet, but you go to a restaurant or something like that, and like, even if you start as a dishwasher or a bus or something like that, like there's instantly a culture you're involved with there. And, you know, like,
and Johnny, your social skills are up there with some of the best I've seen.
Well,
and
thank
you
very
can't
much.
tell me that you did not learn a lot of those social skills going up to random tables.
Absolutely.
And having to build that instant rapport with them, right?
Yep, absolutely you do. And as a waiter, it was like, yeah, it was interesting, because I got to the point where I could read a table that, like, you could walk up to them and understand whether they wanted every single little thing talked about.
Right.
But there was tables where I literally said the absolute minimum, and I'd get the biggest tips ever. Like, say barely anything. So yeah.
Isn't that like reading being able to have that skill though?
Yeah.
Like for you to be able to look at a table and be like, oh, that's, you know,
you don't want to hear from me.
No,
Yeah.
or
you
the
want
alternative.
That's
and
right.
like
Yeah.
being able to kind of do that, it's probably transitions into sales.
100% it does.
Would be like
100% it does. Yeah.
How to talk to a customer, how to relate to him, how to get across and relate and like.
Yeah. Well, and when you start a serving job, it's like all you think you're doing and all you're supposed to do really is take the order and make sure you get it right. But once you are a couple of years of vet into serving, you understand, well, I've taken your order, but it would be much better with a side of lobster.
Yeah.
You know? And it would be even better with a Caesar salad to start.
Oh, yeah.
And why not, instead of just a glass of wine, why don't you just get a bottle, and then the whole table can enjoy it, you know, and all of a sudden you're racking up the bill, and then 20% of this is a lot more than 20% of what it was going to be. So it's all sales.
I've been on the other side of that, getting hustled into those types of things. Do you want the lobster tail add-on?
Yeah.
It's don't even look at the price, but I do. Yeah.
That sounds good. I think I will have that.
Yeah.
No, you're exactly right. And it was sales rate. It was sales 101 to begin with. So, but that's the kind of stuff I'm going to push to my kids is not getting into school right off the bat, but find yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. And definitely the sales side of it was not my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
I was fine in kind of conversations and stuff, but I was always kind of more comfortable creating and kind of thinking with a vision and that type of thing versus like being kind of on the front lines. That was work for me to kind of, and in the early days of when you're, you know, coming up with any product, you are the salesman too. So
of course you are. Yeah.
You do it all as a founder. So it's
and that's probably where you learned a lot of your skills too, is like, just because you really built the thing, you were able to talk about it. You know, see, it's one thing to assign your product to a dealership, teach them about it, and then tell them to go sell it. Like, I mean, they can teach the basics of what your product is, right?
Yeah.
But you could really get into the nitty gritty about this is how it works. And so you probably built a lot of skills in that sense about selling.
Yeah, I did a lot, and you're forced into it. So it's like because it's like your baby and you want it to grow and do good, like you have to be forced to learn that skill.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Because otherwise it's going to die, and you don't want to see that either. So,
no.
a lot of those skills you have to learn. So
you do. Yeah, absolutely. Some people are just born with it though.
Oh,
like, I mean, they just you pick them up, you can give them, Calian's products. Yeah, I got this. Don't worry. And they'll just go do it.
Yeah.
And good on them. But
Yeah.
they probably don't have the, the insight that you have about, like research and development as far as like making the product bigger, making it more scalable, that sort of thing. Right. So
it gives you a good, a good picture of that. It takes everyone. Like you need product people, you need visionary people, you need creative people. And then you need you need salespeople, because you can build the best widget and it could sit on the table, but if you can't distribute it, can't sell it, can't talk about it, it's not going to go anywhere.
And you need people to talk about it.
Yeah.
Right on, man.
Yeah.
Is it my turn, Johnny?
Oh, it might be your turn. Can I ask my question?
Oh yeah.
Okay. This is a first for the podcast, and my barber asked me today this question. And I was really humbled by it, but and if you don't have an answer, that's okay, because some people are like, bro, I got this. You got to hear about this. And some people are like, man, I got to think about it. And I had to think about it. Have you ever, how was I going to ask you? Is there ever in your life been a situation that happened to you that you can't explain? It doesn't have to be spooky. It doesn't have to be like a ghost story or anything like that. Just like something happened and I can't explain why it happened, but it happened, and it whether it changed the course of your life, whether it saved your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. I've had many examples. Many have been smaller.
Yeah.
But honestly, I'll just go back to the Fuel Lock example of is it kind of like the things happen for a reason type of scenario? Because when I was going along with Fuel Lock, in the early days, just building them as one-offs, it would have just ended there.
Yeah.
If I hadn't known Kyle, or had he reached out, or was in a financial situation to kind of have the money to develop it.
Yep.
The timing was, I look back on it now, and I was 23, and I was like, I would have needed to raise a ton of money that I was totally unequipped to do. And I had no knowledge in tech and everything that way. So it would have just ended.
Right.
So I would have just said, yeah, that's it. I can't do anything more.
Yeah.
But I just kind of took a shot in the dark and said, hey, are you in any way looking to kind of grow or expand? And he just so happened to be in a position where he's like, yeah, I think we can.
Yeah.
And it took a couple of months, and ultimately, and I had the relationship being, doing my apprentice for electrician. So to me, that's kind of one of those things where it's like, I might still be doing electrical today, and but be happy.
But you never know.
But you never know. And that just kind of was one of those things where it's like, oh, you took a turn, took a chance, and then ended up.
Yeah. So that's almost the exact thing I'm talking about. The crazy answer I wanted out of you was I was driving down the road, I thought it was over, and then I passed Kyle's house and something told me to turn into his yard.
I should have made, I should have made
I blew a tire outside his yard.
I and so next time, tell that story. Something just told me turn into his yard, and I turned into his yard, and I asked him, and fucking rights, he said yes.
He was standing there sitting on his deck.
He's like, I knew you were coming for some reason.
His checkbook was open with a pen.
It just so happened that he was sitting there waiting for me at that time. But.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good. It's a great answer though, because you had something, you didn't know it was going to go anywhere, and then all of a sudden it started. So it's a beautiful thing.
That's a great answer.
Yeah. So producer Jay's going to do a few things with us now.
Okay, so we got a couple segments here. The first one is blind restaurant ranking. So here's how it works. I give you one restaurant, and you have to tell me if it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. You got to rank it out of 5. And once that number is taken, the next one can't have that number.
Oof.
So it's all blind. Johnny's done this.
Yep. Okay. I just get to make fun of you.
Yeah, and so I don't know, because you're a little younger, I'm going to go with fast food restaurants here. So Burger King out of 5.
I'll say 3. I'm going to start in the middle.
It's safe. Yeah, I'm okay with that. I like Burger King.
So where are you going, Johnny?
Oh, you want me to do it too? I'm going to do 3 as well.
Okay. Taco Bell.
I might get buried for this, but I'll be 4 on Taco Bell.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was going to say that too. 4.
Oh, okay.
Like I would have gone 5 on it, but like ironically, like within the last 2 or 8 weeks, I've had a Crunchwrap Supreme, and like, good God, they're so fucking good.
Taco Bell might be number 1 for me.
Oh, really? Well, you know the list, so
I know, so I can't.
Yeah.
I can't talk here. Okay,
So we're
next
both
one.
at the same thing. We had 3 and 4.
3 and 4.
Yep.
McDonald's.
It's a sure shot. It's got to be 2. I'll go 2 for that.
I'm gonna go 1 with McDonald's.
Okay, so 1, 3, 4, and 2, 3, 4.
Now
okay.
I'm like, what is going to be 1?
Yeah.
Okay, Dairy Queen.
I got to go 1 for Dairy Queen because ice cream.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one. I'm gonna go 2.
Okay.
So all we have is the worst. The worst.
Boy.
Yeah.
What if one comes out of the woodwork here?
Oh, please say Arby's. Please say fucking Arby's.
Then we're
It's
live.
Arby's.
Is it Arby's?
It's
Oh,
Arby's.
Yeah.
thank God.
Good.
We did that right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Usually I hook people with Arby's having
Yeah.
to be number 1 or 2.
Oh, yeah. Because
But-
they wait. And it's like, oh, yeah, no, they got to do a good one at the last. And like, oh
I
my
can't
God,
even remember the last time I've been to
no.
Arby's.
I had it once and it was over. It was fucking over. Yeah.
Well, I can tell you it's on my list every month or 2 for sure.
Oh, Arby's is?
Oh yeah, I have no problem with it.
Really?
Yeah, my parents loved it growing up. The
Yeah. You told me
horseradish
this,
sauce
yeah.
and the curly fries.
Yeah.
Oh, the curly fries.
It's no joke.
Yeah.
And I think no straight up, guys, straight up,
serious.
it's no joke here. And I swear they have a patent on it because no other restaurant has ever done these curly fries.
Yeah.
So they got some choke on that market.
We're all going for Arby's curly fries after this.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wendy's. Maybe I should probably add it there.
Yeah.
But, okay, the next one is just a quick would you rather. So out of these 2 things, what would you rather have or do? Would you rather have to always speak your mind or never be able to speak again?
You get yourself in some bad spots.
I
speaking
like
your mind.
this day and age.
Yeah.
You'd be in jail quick, wouldn't you? Right?
Bro,
Yeah.
I'm not. That's actually a very good point. Like you might not last if you had to say what was on your mind all
But
the time.
and then the other option is to never speak again, though. Like it's like
That's not a very good option, right?
yeah. But I mean, I understand. I'm gonna risk it. I'm
I'm gonna
speak your
say
mind.
speak your mind.
I think you got.
Yeah.
I think we should all speak our mind a little
Yeah,
bit more.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you rather have the power to time travel or to read people's minds?
Oh boy.
I'm quick on this one. Read
Go.
people's minds.
Yeah.
I think.
I think time travel would be well. Yeah, I would want to time travel just because like there's just like stupid things that you could make.
That's
happen.
true.
Like, you know, I mean, who wouldn't go back to 2014 or 2015 and put $10,000 in Bitcoin? You know,
Yeah. I never thought of going
and
back
be
and
worth $1 billion,
correcting
right?
mistakes.
Yeah,
There's the butterfly effect of that, though.
There
you know,
is,
where
though.
like you change
Yeah.
one thing and all of a sudden you got no arms or
no,
something.
yeah, that's right.
That's how that movie ends, at least.
Yeah,
But I'm kind of with you. I think time travel would be great. For me, I'd go back and I would like write the song that I love now, but
Yeah.
like 5 years ago.
right.
And
yeah.
and as a musician, that is like blasphemy to say.
yeah.
But I'd rip some artist off. I'd write Taylor Swift songs and sell them to her.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah,
And
and
then
they'd all have to have producer Jay's version behind them.
That's right. That's right.
Instead of Taylor's version.
But reading people's minds would be pretty fun too, because we live in a world where we're always kind of like wondering what's going on
Right.
sometimes.
Yeah.
We would always know.
Yeah.
You'd
Just
be
think
like,
of how dominant you could be in like in some situations where you could be like, I wonder what that person's thinking. If you're in like a
Yeah.
hardcore business meeting,
Yeah.
like negotiating a deal, and you're just like all of a sudden you bring up something. They're just
Yeah, like whoa.
Yeah.
like, and
That's
it's,
exactly
or
what I
like
was
you're pitching them on something, and they're thinking like all they'd have to say is this, and I'd take the deal.
Yeah.
and you could say,
Yeah.
and we'll include this.
Yeah.
Be like, fuck. where's the
guy's
paper
reading my
outside?
mind. Okay. I like those answers. Okay, last one here. Would you rather have the power to instantly learn any skill or instantly forget any painful memory?
Any skill.
Yeah, any skill
for
sure.
Yeah, that's
Man, you
mine
live.
too.
Yeah, that's all. It's life's about living with your mistakes, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
learning
and-
from them.
Absolutely, yeah. But to learn, If I could snap my fingers and learn a language, I think that would be so awesome.
Yeah.
If I could snap my fingers and learn jujitsu or something, that would be awesome. Or sports or something.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. That's my vote.
Yeah, I think that's a universal one.
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
Last question I have for you. If a genie came out of a bottle,
Oh, Jesus.
what are your 3 quick wishes right now?
Oof.
God,
Well, because golf season just ended, I'll say never miss a fairway again.
Oh, wow.
That would be
gotcha.
Like the bowling lanes that have the dummy pads?
Yeah, just
like your
bumper
fairways, your fairways
Bumper
have
bowling,
bumper
yeah.
golf.
no matter how bad you hit it, you're always
Yeah.
on the fairway.
Yeah.
Oh man, okay.
Do you have one?
Like mine would be like the ones you probably can't. Mine would be like infinite wealth,
Yeah.
infinite health. Like
Yeah.
I'd never die, and then also I should probably take care of my kids somehow that way. But the infinite wealth would take care of that. The infinite health for me. But is any? Yeah, I don't know. Can you say that? Is there any rules to this one?
No, not really.
Because like even
one of
like
mine
the
would be that
Aladdin's
my
genie was like,
kids
yeah,
live long and healthy, fulfilled, happy lives. Like,
that would be it. Then.
That would be
Yeah.
without question one of
Yeah,
mine.
yeah. Unfortunately, that was my last one, so I look like a really bad father. But like, yeah, that's like
He's
yeah.
golfing over here, so you can tell he doesn't have kids yet.
No.
Landon don't have kids yet.
I'm worried about golf. I would say another cool one, which I've thought about before, would be never have a credit card balance. Like
Yeah.
no matter what, your credit card would always be paid
Zero,
off.
yeah.
You
Oh,
could
that'd
just
be great.
always be cooking with that thing.
Yeah.
But you did along with that, you'd have to never have a credit card limit either.
Yes. Maybe that's my third one.
Okay.
Yeah.
No limit, no balance.
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
I wouldn't mind being desirable to women at some point in my life.
You'll get there, man.
Yeah,
I hope my girlfriend doesn't listen to this.
Yeah.
I mean, tough one. My first wish was about golf.
Yeah. I love
that's
that.
good.
No,
Hey,
that
very-
was supposed to be for fun anyways.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's all I got for you guys. Thanks for taking the time.
It was my pleasure. And thank you, Landon, for coming. This has been awesome.
Yeah.
Love to have you on again. It'll probably be like episode 30 or 40, which
Yeah.
is great. But like, I'd love to hear where Calian goes and you take the products that you got. So,
Yeah, perfect. Thanks for having me. Good to meet you
it was
too.
all pleasure. Yeah, nice to
very
meet
good.
you. So we'll see you soon.
Yeah, sounds good.
Thanks, man.
Thanks.